And you know, now I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna get into my next question because I really really want to ask you about this. All right, you tell me. We had Sheduer. He came up. He interviewed with us last week at
Yeah.
at the showcase, and he had some comments or a question was asked about his ability to want to, or how would he feel about playing against or playing with the team in a rebuilding process. And he said, look, everywhere I've been, I've helped change the culture. I don't think Jackson State or Colorado had a winning history before I got there. Whoever sees in the value in that's going to be lucky to get me. You tell me, why is that rubbing so many people the wrong way?
I don't know what it is about people who just want to hop in front of an insult when no insult was directed at them. First of all, knowing Shedeur personally, knowing him before he made his decision to Jackson State, being with him literally when he made his decision to come to Jackson State, and understanding his respect for the rich history of Jackson State, I also want to say that context of that statement is like missing a word such as the history right before I got there or the immediate history. He understands and appreciates the Walter Payton history and the Robert Brazile history and the Lynn Barner history and the Coach W.C. Gordon history. But he also understands in his lifetime, particularly his high school lifetime, when you're watching college ball because you're about to go, he ain't lying. When Shedeur was, now, I could reach right up there on the counter and take out this Goonville. By the way, that's an exclusive. It'll be out for everybody soon. Only me and Warren Sapp got them. That's for flex. I know Jack State football very well, Dukes.
Yeah.
I would imagine, Shedeur would have been a freshman in high school in about 2017. Jackson State was 3-8. 2018, 5-5. 2019, 4-8. 2020, 4-3. First year, Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback, 11-2. Second year, Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback, 12-1. He didn't lie. Why, when someone says the truth, that you want to hop in front of it, even if you want to take it the way it's quoted, like, hey man, they wasn't nothing before I got there. When you look at his lifetime, the guy was born February 2002. If you go look at Jackson State's records since 2002, I mean, it's a couple of winning seasons in there. But if you go look at like his high school, by the time he would have been thinking of what college to go to, we wasn't winning. And let me tell you this, Dukes. Outside of good old Uncle Neely being his host for his visit, we all know that the reason that Shedeur Sanders came to Jack State is because his daddy, Deion Sanders, came to Jack State.
Mm-hmm.
Why did Deion Sanders come to Jack State? Because there was a vacancy. Why was there a vacancy? Because we were losing.
He ain't lying.
Like, how is this stuff, when you put it in chronological order, how is this stuff even remotely offensive when it is just historically accurate? You look at Colorado. Colorado won the national championship. Rashawn Salam, Heisman Trophy winner. Cordell Stewart and them. Shedeur wasn't even alive the last time they had their prominence. What happened when he came? So he ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
So if you're a historical Colorado fan, historical Jackson State fan, and that man's quote bothers you where he says, hey, look, whoever picked me, I'm paraphrasing, don't have the best of records. I have a track record demonstrated in two places that when I show up, the records change.
He ain't lying.
Why are we mad about that? You tell me, Dukes.
Man, it's like I said before, man. Sometimes people don't. You can attribute that to it's genetic. That's what they call generational hate. That hate had nothing to do with him. That hate, that hate was passed through gene. That's DNA hate. Like, that's chromosome. They talk the 21st chromosome, 21, prime time. The prime. So, they was already upset with the brass nature of his father. Some people call it brass. I call it confidence. I know what he did for the city of Atlanta. You know what I mean? So when you look at it from my perspective, yeah, of course you want to hear. You want the quarterback to talk like that. Who do you want to go fight with? Like like in the AFC North, when you got Joe Burrow, right? When you look at the teams that are in that division, Lamar Jackson, like if let's say it was the Steelers, or let's say it was the Saints in the NFC South, who do you want? You got to go up against Michael Penix. You got Baker Mayfield, who say how he feel every time. Bryce Young even figured it out. Who do you want to go to war with? A guy that says, "Hey, we finna get this together because I know how to win." And it's not like he's not coachable. It's not like he doesn't listen. It's not like he hasn't been held accountable. We even saw Travis Hunter holding him accountable sometimes, and they got it together. So there's all of this track record of who he is as a person, and we let internet clips and quotes shape the narrative of this person as a whole because there was a word missing. Imagine how much differently that looks if the quote was, well, look at the recent history of the teams. All you gotta do, like you said, to your point, if you add recent in there, this ain't even a quote. But they literally all times in order to take a shot at the Sanders family. And we done said it ad nauseum. I ain't gonna be the dead horse. But yeah, you got a lot to do. It ain't what was said. I believe it was who was saying it.
Man, I love that. I love that DNA genetic tax. And let me say this. I think that horse leg just moved. Beat it some more. Because a lie unchallenged can soon become the truth, big dog. It do some scoop. So, like, we going to point this stuff out, these different standards and, the way you try to make a quote mean something else when clearly when you look at the path that's been demonstrated before the statement, he don't feel that way. I remember this, Dukes. I remember this. Here's another thing that was true and people got mad at. When Shedeur was at Jackson State and Coach Prime had signed, this historical class, the most prominent class in SWAC HBCU history, Sheduer at Media Day, SWAC Media Day said this when they were talking about past greats, whether it was Eddie Robinson and Grambling, W.C. Gordon and Jackson State. He said, man, y'all got to understand something, though. Those guys didn't have a choice. We chose to come here. Like, we could literally be playing anywhere in America. We could be in the SEC. We could be in the ACC. We chose to come to a SWAC school, to a HBCU. And, man, folks got mad. But he didn't lie. He didn't lie. People want to, make up this narrative that these HBCU greats, whether they're from FAMU or JSU or Alabama A&M, I don't care where they're from, that most of them and all of them just chose that place to be because that's what they wanted to be. No, they chose that place to be because that was the only opportunity they had. Mm-hmm. And that's not shade. I say the same thing about Coach Prime, about Deion Sanders. He got interviewed twice at Arkansas, I think maybe 3 times. Mm-hmm. Florida State sat down with him. But where did the opportunity come from? His people, from an HBCU, which is the very nature of his designation and creation, to give opportunity to people who otherwise would not have it because of the color of their skin. And you then take that opportunity and you multiply it and go forth in the world and show the world what it could have been had you treated me right. How are we mad at that?
Yeah. How are they mad? We not claiming none of that. How they mad? I don't know, because it ain't a hater bone in my body. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to stuff like that, you be like, bro, come on, man, that man ain't. That's not what he was saying, but that's part of it. That's part of the spotlight. That's part of the shine. That's part of what they say. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. Like you get the peanut gallery. You get those people who are throwing stones, and because at the end of the day, there's a time limit on clickbait.
Yeah.
And when they get that type of clickbait, they find a way that they can kind of maneuver it so they can get a few clicks. Oh, well, if we don't run with this now, we're gonna miss it. So there's a deluge of information that comes out, of misinformation that comes out in one spot. And it's like you see all these different thirsty, so to speak, websites and people who want to say and Instagram sites or whatever, social media sites that say, "Can you believe he said this?" And then you get the original quote, and then by the time it makes it to Facebook, it's a whole different quote. You ever see those memes on Facebook where they take the smallest bit of the truth, and then and there's people who don't do their job and go vet what's being said, and they say, "Oh, I saw it on Facebook. It's got to be real."
Got to be real.
And now you have a whole nother narrative spun because of one word that people knew. You ever see those articles where a player may not say something and they may have said it the wrong way, and a journalist who really cares about the player, or a journalist who cares about the truth, will put in quotations the word that was missing or the word that was supposed to be there?
Yep.
Why Sheduer don't never get that courtesy?
That's his last name, Sanders.
Boom. Okay, I was just making sure. Okay, cool.
So, let me drop a couple of jewels on y'all from the chat. Andre Walker, who happens to have jewel in his name, says, "Didn't Shannon Sharp go on record to say that the only, all caps, reason he went to HBCUs because he didn't have other options?" Facts. John Gray come back and said, "Dancing at Mississippi State, for example. Coach Vincent Dancy played football at Jackson State, graduated there, went on to be the head coach at Valley. Mississippi, why Mississippi State didn't hire him then? He came out to Colorado, Pac-12, Big 12, proved he could do it. Now Mississippi State calling. But what they hired an HBCU alum from Jackson State, who's also a head coach alum from Mississippi Valley State. But all those years, he was right there in Mississippi now."
Right. Yeah.
Dennis says the journey is why we appreciate Coach Prime. I love that, Dennis.
Yeah, for sure.
And if y'all look at the picture, I don't know if y'all know. If you think Dennis just light skinned, when you factor in you got a picture with the dog, you know he white. Like that's not light skinned Dennis. So if Dennis can see it.
Yeah. And Dennis my boy too.
Oh man, I love some Dennis, man. I can't wait till summer practice when Dennis is out there on that bridge. That's the only time I see him every morning watching practice with his dog.
That's hard. Shout out to Dennis, man. All right, that's all you want.
All right, dog. I know you ain't at the crib. You getting your travels on, but I gotta take it to the crib, man. I gotta take it to the crib with you.